It is Wednesday. See, I timed it with the horns. It's Wednesday. Hope you're having a great day. I got to press this button to go live on Instagram when it decides to catch up with everything else. Come on. No, it's not working. Whenever it decides to wake up, we'll hit the button. Welcome to Wednesday. Today is a magical show. Oh, there we are. Hey, did you notice the difference?
Oh, look at that.
Everybody's on everything.
Both of us are there.
Yes. Even on Instagram, you can see the wide angle. It's a little smaller, but we're there. It's a hack.
That's okay. It's better than looking at the bear.
This is true. Buddy was getting a lot of attention he didn't necessarily need for his ego. But, he's a quiet guy.
Buddy?
There's
Looks
Buddy.
smart. Looks like he's deep in thought. Or fast asleep.
Or has had a few too many, one or the other. Good morning. Today is Wednesday. It is the last day of January. I'm not ready for February, but, it is what it is. We don't really have a choice in the matter. We have a bunch of things going on today. Aside from everything we always do, we're also going to be joined by Jerry Agar from News Talk 1010. He's coming in at about 10:30 for a sound check, and 10:35 will be on the air. And that's you're going to be like Pokeroo. You're going to take off just before he gets here.
Which is exactly perfect timing for me because I have stuff and things to do today, and I'm once again out at the Toronto Police College doing some training.
You're teaching people how to do stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
I'm all about the stuff and things. If you are watching, you will notice that this looks like the old setup. That's because I'm trying to get our TikTok comments to work, and in doing so, I'm experimenting. So we're back to the old setup. I like the new logos, but we'll make do for today. At least we'll know better if who's responsible for what. If you're watching us, you are probably on one of the following platforms. Did I press the right button? I did press the right button. We have TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. If you're watching on one of those, we will be able to communicate. We can actually see messages from you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Let me see if anybody's in TikTok land. Neha, good morning to you. Now let's see here. She's got bags under her. She says she has. Morning for my post night shift self. My under eye bags are bigger than tote bags. Okay, good to know. But you're the test subject here. We're going to find out if your message came through. And hey, it did. So that means currently, as of this moment, although things could change, we're getting TikTok messages integrated, which is good. We're really excited about that. I'm really excited about that. So regardless of the platform, we should be able to get your messages. X or Twitter also is integrated now. The only people who need some extra work are the fine folks who are watching from Instagram. We have to manually look. So if Instagram wants a better view or more attention, jump over to trafficcop.ca for your selection of all of our social media, or go to youtube.trafficcop.ca and just get sent right to our YouTube channel without all the other keyboard pointy-clicky things.
Now, I got a question. Why is Neha awake right now? If she's post-night shift or they're post-night shift, they should be fast asleep right now.
We just wanted to be part of this show. It's so important. It's so worthy. Just a reminder that if you want to catch up on shows, if you don't have the ability to watch us live, and you want to take us in the car with you, if you're playing this in the car, it's against the law. You can't have a screen visible to the driver. If you're on TikTok, you can actually shut down the phone. It'll allow you to play audio through, but you're wasting data. So you have another option. Once we're finished, we're going to download the episode, re-upload it through Spotify, and disseminate it through all the podcast apps. So you can watch it you can actually watch it on Spotify through their video link, but you can also just listen to it on Apple Podcasts. And a lot of folks catch up on old episodes doing just that. No data burn, and you're not breaking the law. Let's get into some greetings and salutations. That's Kayla, who's first into the chat room 6 minutes before we went live, which is awesome. Apparently, I got to go check my messages. He left me a message on Telegram. By the way, if you want to join our Telegram group, we have a small group. It's telegram.trafficcop.ca. You can come in and be part of the clips and chats and jokes and whatnot. So that's an option for you. So there's a message there. Yogi Bear, a quote for later. Dad joke for later. Cool. And he'll be driving through the show, so he'll be listening, but he won't be watching because he has. And if you have YouTube Pro that you pay for it, you also can actually watch or not watch, but listen live. Tim Shallow says good morning. Stephen Bell says good morning. Chase says good morning. I'm going way too fast. People can't even read your stuff there. Good morning, guys, from anonymous LinkedIn user. I have some guesses as to who it might be, but I'm not entirely sure because Depending on your security settings, your name may not come through. Tim says, good morning, Sergeant Campbell.
Good morning.
And Stephen Bell jumping in with that. And then LinkedIn user says, buddy. Yeah, it is buddy. Yes, that's exactly. I thought he was calling me buddy. Rusty Shackelford says, morning, Sean and Sergeant Campbell. Zombie made it in. Good morning to you. Glad to see you. It's like 2 days in a row. Okay. We got Neha already. Michael H says, good morning, good sergeant, good sergeant, good DJ Jerry.
Well, Jerry's coming up later
DJ
on,
Jerry.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. We have two good sergeants. I'm not a sergeant. Good sergeant, and that's good. I don't know. I'm just Sean.
Yeah, it's close enough. You know what?
I'll take a promotion.
You guys are awesome. You guys are like really nice saying good morning to us.
It is. It's very nice.
Love it. Good to hear.
And then we got Tian with good morning, and Razzle Dazzle wants to know, is X a website you should stay away from? It's funny. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, and he was talking about positivity and not following or unfollowing people who give you negative vibes, because filling your world with negativity just doesn't help you towards success. I love what Gary has to say. He's a very interesting guy. But yeah, he says, follow people who make you feel good and unfollow people who make you feel bad. And I'm paraphrasing.
Which is actually a really good thing in life.
Yeah, and X happens to be a really toxic space. I find the most hate about most topics seems to be there.
Really?
Yeah. Not necessarily directed at us, just in general, just unhappy people being angry. But there's also good stuff there. Get Jacked Up says, hey, from Bradford, the metropolis of Bradford. From the tallest skyscraper in Bradford, you're currently broadcasting or typing. Well, welcome to the show. I don't think we've ever seen you on the show, so welcome. Get Jacked Up. The Grinch says good morning. Paul Panu says morning, and Brandon says good morning. You notice we have a lot of good mornings. We like to say hello to everybody, and then we get into the stuff and things very shortly. I'll tell you about Vision Zero Enforcement Team, and then we'll jump into questions from you, because this is really a show all about you. You know,
for you, about you,
yeah,
to help you.
Yes, and donuts.
I
put up a video this morning about the choose to include donut from Tim Hortons. That's on sale from the February 2nd to 4th, and all proceeds from the sale of those donuts goes to Special Olympics Canada to fund community sport programs for those who have intellectual disabilities.
What a great cause!
Truly. Neha says, I have nothing better to do at the moment. I'll sleep soon. Very good. I've been there. I know what night shift is. Okay. We got a question from Rusty Shackelford we'll get to in a second. Is that a patch wall on PC Buddy's right? It has become a temporary, I don't know if that's where it's going to live forever, but I have a number of patches. If police services watching want to send patches, we'll put them up there and include you in the patch wall. I thought it was neat. We can pin things to this one, and I thought a good use of space. And
well, we do need a Toronto one up there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. But we're wearing Toronto ones, so I thought that maybe we get an old school Toronto one.
Maybe we could pin you to the wall.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, bike lane questions. Amazing. Keep up the good work. Love the content. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. And apparently, Michael says YouTube Premium, TikTok play in background. If you have maps on screen, it's legal while you show audio playing in the background. Yes, most of those apps allow you to choose the audio of your choice. I listen to audiobooks while I drive. That's my thing. I'm currently on Reach Your Book number 3, which I got from the library. You can get audiobooks and videos and all sorts of stuff from the library for free.
On CD form or?
Audiobook.
Download
to your app and synchronize.
Wow,
and just
very cool.
I was on the waiting list. I had a hold put on it. Told me it was going to take a couple of weeks. There were 29 copies, currently 60 people waiting. And I checked every morning. This morning it actually said it's ready for download. Download it. Was listening to Reach Your Book 3 called Tripwire on the way into work.
Nice.
And I'm already into it. He's in the Keys. He's in Florida. Well, he's flying to New York. Anyway, chapter 2. Let's get into Vision Zero before I forget to get into Vision Zero. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a group of dedicated officers who go out trying to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. And they do a pretty good job of it. They have a button for Vision Zero Enforcement Team.
Yeah, they do an amazing job at it.
They truly do. They are focused on speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. Those are the activities, driver choices, behaviors people choose to engage in that put lives at risk. And we call it the Big Four. That's where we focus our efforts. A lot of people in the comments yesterday, why aren't we spending more time enforcing roundabout safety? Because roundabout's a low-speed, design-specific road thing.
They're not wrong. There needs to be more education about roundabouts.
Yes.
I think if people knew how to use them properly, there would be less of an issue in there. Currently in the city of Toronto, we don't have an awful lot of roundabouts.
This is true.
But in the province, we're getting more and more.
And I frequent areas where there are some, and no one knows how to use them. It's pretty pathetic. I play chicken every time I get into one.
Yeah.
But in terms of allotting police resources, we focus on the stuff that's most dangerous, and we also spend time in places where there's less danger.
There's not enough of us around to go around to
Yes.
do everything. So
do our
let's do
best.
the stuff that affects most people and can hurt most people.
I'm down with that. Today, the Vision Zero enforcement team are spending their time in 23 Division and 33 Division. That's Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. We announce it every day on our social media platforms. We have that on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Those are the pages where we announce that. 6, 7, and 8 in the morning, that's when the posts go out. So if you'd like to follow us there, you'll know where they are too. And a lot of people say, well, why are we telling those, why are we announcing where they're going to be? Well, the people who live in those neighborhoods want to know that we're out there servicing their areas. And we assume that the folks who are breaking the laws are probably not paying attention to our accounts.
And if they are, we're still catching them. So
There's no shortage of people violating. And that's sad. Again, people accuse us of having ulterior motives, being enforcers for government to get cash for government, like to fund the. It doesn't work that way. I believe very strongly that it costs more money to enforce than it is from any possible income that derives from it.
absolutely.
There's no way
Absolutely.
that the income from tickets, never mind, and if people challenge the tickets, even more so. But what are the options? If we don't take your cash to try and drive home the message, what would you prefer? Jail, heavy labor, like clean up the street? What could we offer that would be less intrusive or different?
Well, you know what? It has to be a deterrent, right? Because if you continue to get caught, nothing happens, and you'll just continue doing it. And then one of these times when you're doing it, you'll cause an accident, a collision, maybe a serious one, and somebody will get hurt. And we don't want that at all.
It's bad stuff. We just want to keep people safe. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't need to give tickets out if people aren't breaking the law. There's no ticket to give if you're not breaking the rules. Don't break the rules. You won't meet one of our officers, and your day will be happier for it. Okay, let's get into flag some more questions. We'll start answering some questions. What is this? Morning, both officers. Oh, we got our message from our friend in Pakistan. It says, morning, both officers, and have a wonderful day. Inbox me on Facebook. Your contact details, please. Thanks. Basharat Ali from Traffic Services, Punjab, Pakistan. We have that invitation to go. We'll reach out. Okay. Good morning from Muskoka. That's from Ice Wine on TikTok. And we got here, good morning from Windsor. That's M's Crystals. Good morning to you. Good morning, humans. Hope you have a beautiful day. And I can't read your username because it's a whole lot of icons. But good morning to you. Thanks for reaching out. Vehicle Valley, long time no talk, Vehicle Valley. Good morning, Mr. Shapiro and Sergeant Campbell. Hope you are both. Oh, sorry. How are you both today? I'm doing pretty good.
We're good. Yeah,
absolutely. I got no complaints. Reminder that I'm not here tomorrow. I've got stuff to do tomorrow, so I'll be back on Friday to do another show. And then Emma's in Ohio. International traveler there. Emma, longtime friend to the show. Get Shacked Up is hiding out behind the cornfields. SH Fire says, top of the morning to you and the rest of the day to you. What else do we have here? We've got why police make more. So this is an article. Did you see the buzz yesterday? Someone posted the Sunshine List, and it had a number of people that were making a lot of money. And the suggestion that the media make is, are you shocked, or how do you feel about the fact that some police officers make more than doctors? And that's the way they posed it in the post on, I think it was Six Buzz that I read it on. And the comments are very interesting because I don't think they understand that salary is one thing, and then there's a tremendous amount of overtime that you can do. So if you work 7 days on and 7 days off, and you want to work all of your 7 days off and have absolutely no life outside of work, you can do that.
Which I know some people around here do.
Oh, yeah.
And usually the top earners, they're here every single day. They're working all the time. They're filling in, doing all the jobs that need to get done that there's nobody around to do. They're taking every pay duty. If there's a emergency crane hoist that has to get done, they can't do it without a police officer there because it's unlawful, it's unsafe. We have to stop pedestrians, make it safe for everybody. Nobody wants to do that for a short period of time. The company is willing to pay to get that done because they're under a timeline. They will jump in. They will do stuff like that. So they're, you know what? They're needed.
Yeah.
But they make money doing it.
They make money doing it, and they give up themselves, their own time to do it. It's not like they're just getting it and money's raining from heaven. It's work. It comes at a sacrifice of personal time. And I appreciate that they do it. I don't do it. I used to do some.
Yep.
But I've never done what these guys do.
No. And you know what? You look at them though, they're tired.
They
work hard, they're tired.
And they deserve what they get. But if you had the opportunity to work unlimited overtime by way of private, because it's not Toronto Police paying them, it's the private company paying them to do this for the most part. So would you do that? Would you work all the time and never see your family? Because that's essentially what they're doing.
Yep. Not for me.
So very interesting. I got a stunt driving conviction 13 years ago. If I get another one, does that increase the penalty? I don't know when it would fade away. There is like first conviction, second conviction. There are escalating sanctions or consequences, but I don't know if you get a reset after a period of time. That's a good question for court.
And you know what? There may not have been escalating sanctions 13 years ago.
True.
So that conviction 13 years ago may not fall into the category where they would.
Guess who has the answer?
Of course it's Chase.
Of course it's Chase. Chase is another friend of the show who researches and has the best questions and often some amazing answers. He says there's a 10-year limit for it to be subsequent conviction for a stunt as per 172 sub 5. You know, I don't get too deep into the weeds about the conviction stuff because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care if you get what the courts decide. It's out of my hands. I provide the evidence. I do my end of it. And when it gets to the courts, I'm not offended if you get a lesser fine or a greater fine. It doesn't change anything for me.
No, we've done our job. And then our job is to gather the evidence and present it to the court. And if the court decides that evidence has met the threshold, then good. And it's up to the court to decide on penalties as well.
And that's for anything. Like I know a number of officers that leave court after they give their testimony. They don't wait to find out if there's a conviction registered. They don't keep score.
No, because it doesn't matter. You know what? I stick around because I want to know how well I did. I want to know if I can improve myself. I want to know if I've made a mistake. I want to know, how I can serve the community better by giving better evidence.
And a tip for police officers, especially new officers, that's exactly what I used to do. I would stay in court. I would wait until everybody went back, and I'd approach the judge or worship and say, worship being, by the way, a justice of the peace, and I'd say, if you don't mind, can I ask you, was there something that you thought I did well, that I didn't do well, would have changed things for you? Where did I fall? And they would tell me. They're very open with it with us. And getting advice about what was good, bad, or can be done differently is great to sharpen your pencil and be better for next time.
Absolutely.
So I don't usually throw out tips to police officers, though, but I think it's a good thing. We should have a cop tips. I don't know. Jadeep is good morning from sunny Florida. Thank you for being our second American located viewer today. Yesterday or the day before, we had a viewer in Germany. This is very much an international show. We have a viewer from Manitoba. We know it's in Canada because we're Canadian, so we know that kind of stuff.
It's flat there.
So, yes. Tony wants to know if we're hiring. We are hiring all sorts of things. And people, they're not things, for different positions to do stuff. So we'll do the little segue into employment now very quickly. Our career section, which you can get to by going to tps.ca/careers, has information on all sorts of jobs. Now, the police constable job has its own button found on the page for apply now. We know that's always lit because we're always looking for police officers. That wasn't always the case. There was a hiring freeze when I wanted to apply in 99. So, but check back regularly. Start preparation now. Even if you don't qualify to apply today, you can start preparing your application. It's a process. It takes a long time to get yourself presentable and pass all the requirements. But for the other jobs, you can go under civilian roles and you can see everything that's available and open for application now. And there are currently 9. Communications operator is one of them. Digital evidence management operator, financial strategies and projects advisor, administrative assistant, service person, temp administrative civilian, intermediate technical analyst, and developer digital team, as well as 2024 Youth and Policing Initiative. Now that is a specific function. I think this is a youth and policing initiative. This is where a young person who qualifies, and you have to qualify based on where you live and what your status is in school and so on. Youth 15 to 18 who reside in a neighborhood improvement area in Toronto. So yeah, you can get involved with the Toronto Police, and we've had people who have gone through the program and later became police officers.
And they had a whole bunch of information sessions for it, so you can come out for a few hours and listen to what the whole program is about, and you can decide from there if you want to apply or not apply. It's awesome. It really is good. We get to meet an awful lot of the youth from the community, and you know what? We can even talk to them and say, "What's going on in your neighborhood?" You
get paid $15 an hour. Like, it's a job. It's not just come out and hang out. It's you get paid. So two birds, you learn about us, we learn about you, and you get paid. Rusty Shackelford was the first real question into the day, and I skipped you, but I'm back. Saw a debate that got me thinking. Can being exhausted behind the wheel, no drugs or alcohol, can you still get an impaired charge?
Impaired? No. So the Criminal Code of Canada defines impaired by drugs or alcohol. Being tired would definitely be careless. Absolutely. And if you're tired and you continue driving and something was to happen, it could escalate into the criminal dangerous level. But impaired itself, no, it has to be drugs or alcohol that's caused it. So you could be overly tired and had a little bit of drugs or a little bit of alcohol, and that may contribute to a charge being laid.
And for drugs, there are drug recognition experts who will have you perform a battery of tests, they'll administer a battery of tests, and based on your performance of those, the consequences are the same as impaired by alcohol, where a machine determines the content in your blood. Let's see here. We've got a few flagged things here. We got some other interesting locations. Okay. Well, first we'll jump into Hamuzi, who wants to know if the shifts for TPS are 7 on, 6 off. I think the most popular shift is 7 on, 7 off.
Right.
How many hours do they work for that?
I believe they work 11-hour shifts.
11 hours.
Yep.
I used to work we all used to work the compressed, which was 7 on, 6 off, 7 on, 5 off, 7 off, 4 off. Is that how it was?
Yep.
There were two versions of it, because there was another one that did 3 off, depending on, there were variations. And now there's a whole bunch of different things going on.
And what are you working now?
I'm working Monday to Friday, straight days.
Yep, 8 hours a day.
Yeah. So there's also, and depending on what position you have and what area you work, it could be different. I used to work 8 and 6 when I was in the motor squad. Then we also did 4 on, 4 off, 4 on, 2 off. Like there's so many different patterns depending on the specialty you're in.
Yep, and even within the service, regular frontline platoons that are out there, depending on the station, could be different as well.
It's very interesting. Now, is it illegal to drink non-alcoholic beer while driving? I think it's an interesting question, because the word beer is there, and there's some alcohol.
There is, very little. So does it contain enough alcohol to be considered an alcoholic beverage?
I do not believe it does.
I don't believe it does either.
So, Sarasota was my favorite drink like 100 years ago. I recently found, I had stockpiled, or my brother stockpiled. So one of us had a 6-pack of Sarasota that we left somewhere. Cleaning out my dad's house, we found it. And I'm like, I'm not drinking that, but it brought back a whole bunch of memories just seeing it. I liked Sarasota.
Yeah, it was available in the corner stores. Different from the corner stores now that are agency stores for the LCBO or the beer store. So is it legal to drink a non-alcoholic beer while driving? Yes, it is. It is totally legal. Now, if you get stopped and you smell like the regular smell of a beer would be, they may have a conversation with you because of it. You may be subject to a screening device test because of the smell, because of the evidence that the officer is taking in.
And just to expand on that, in Canada now, as of 2018, we have 2 different ways of making a breath demand for a roadside screening device. You could be read a demand based on suspicion, because we believe you have some, whether it be because of the odor of an alcoholic beverage, admission that you've consumed alcohol, that sort of thing, and we can go by way of that. But we may be pulling you over with the intention to give you a mandatory alcohol screening, which means regardless of whether or not there's suspicion, we're going to employ mandatory alcohol screening.
It's just a random screening of eligible drivers that are out there. No rhyme or reason. We're going to stop you and check you.
Daniel says, "Good morning. Thanks for keep our street safe." Well, you're very welcome. I feel I will pass that along to frontline officers, because although educating and trying to help keep us safe, I really, the majority of the thanks needs to go to the folks who are out there pushing cars around, helping people out there on the road.
And in 5 minutes, I'm going to go out there and do that myself.
Yes. Good morning from Brockville. Lucas is on TikTok and sending greetings. Thank you for the hello. I don't think I've ever heard from Lucas. Lucas is new to the show. I'm pretty good at recognizing common names. A lot of people watch, lurk, and never say anything. So when you shout out and say hello, we really appreciate it. Kayla is now driving, so he can no longer send messages. Vehicle Valley says police officers working overtime is also them putting themselves at risk when they don't have to. Sure, every time you're in a uniform out on the street, you're increasing your chances of something happening or becoming involved in something for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
We got here. I noticed a lack of enforcement on our 401 series highways where they're callbacks or where they're cutbacks. So that's generally policed by our Ontario Provincial Police, and they are a large police service, but they're spread out over the entire province. So, yeah.
I have noticed the same thing, but it is their highway to police, and we leave it to them. We help them out as much as we can, but it is their highway.
Yeah, and I will say that when they pull someone over, they're now stuck with that call for however long that takes, or if they're called to another call, they have to travel to go there. I have friends with the OPP who have to travel across the province to respond to certain things because of their specialties. They do the job they can with the resources they have and the staff they have, and they're hiring.
Yep,
just like everybody else.
Certainly are.
They're looking for more.
And, I think about a collision on the 400 series highs if nobody's available to go to it because we're doing enforcement. That ties up a big city costing millions and millions of dollars with closed highways and block traffic that we all hate. So they're good at responding. They really are good at responding.
Yeah, and we actually had a situation recently where there was a collision, and there were long waits for that collision. It wasn't serious, but they were waiting for hours and hours, and they complained, which is reasonable. If I waited for hours for response from the police, I'd complain too. And it turns out that at that moment, there were so many things happening, like everything. There was a fatality somewhere. There was a major collision. We go to the highest priority first. So sometimes lesser calls, even though they're important to you on the scale that has to be used to measure, you become a lower priority and you have to wait a little longer.
Yep. Our dispatchers do a fantastic job at triaging what's most important and what's life-threatening and working their way down from there.
For sure. They're hiring, by the way. That was one of the jobs available.
Our dispatchers, our communications.
For communications operator. Yep. Tough job, and they don't get the thanks they deserve. Truly, they don't get the recognition because
we couldn't do a thing without them, quite honestly.
Absolutely. Is there a charge for driving in the bike lane? I'm in Hamilton. So bicycle lanes,
Yep.
Yeah, they're bicycles and for bicycles only. If you're driving a motor vehicle in one, or even driving a e-bike that isn't qualified to be in bicycle tracks, because there's difference, there's charges to be laid. That space is intended to keep cyclists safe. It's to separate cars and bikes, giving them all space to operate safely. Need to look.
A bubbly one.
Mm-hmm. I started drinking a lot of bubbly. There's no sugary, aspartame stuff in it. It's got nothing. It just smells like fruit, but doesn't actually taste like anything. Yeah. Did we get the good morning from Brockville already? Yes, we did. We spoke to Lucas. And then can a police officer pull you over just for fun? Well,
for fun?
No.
We can do it if we want to do our job.
Well, yeah, which I think is fun. So that's technically fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun being a police officer. I like pulling people over, get to meet new people, sometimes give them your autograph, and I mean that in the form of a ticket, not like 8x10s. I don't have glossies. But we have so many reasons why we can pull you over. We can verify your license status, your sobriety, your insurance status. If your car looks like it's out of wax or like not in good shape, we want to make sure it's safe. Or if you did anything wrong, all lawful reasons to pull you over. But fun, no, not just for.
We have way too much other stuff to do than just to do things like that. That'd be fooling around.
Yeah, we don't have time to waste time. I have actually heard of people being pulled over to say, "Hey, nice car." It's not appropriate reason to do that. Maybe at a stoplight, roll down the window, "Hey, nice car." That would be sufficient, not an actual traffic stop. All right. We talked about this. Okay, G1 question from the Grinch. So if a G1 driver gets pulled over for speeding, does the driver get a ticket or does the passenger supervisor? And what happens to the person with a G1? Do they have to start all over again? So the ticket for the driving portion goes to the driver, who is the G1 operator. There are tickets that are eligible for the supervisor, like if they had too much alcohol, if they didn't have their license with them, they couldn't provide their license, they're responsible for that. But maybe there should be a thing where if you, as the supervisor, don't stop the driver from driving illegally, that you should have some shared responsibility. I like that idea. I think Grinch. I think you should get into politics. We'll vote for you. The deal is though that the consequences depend on the violation. So if they're violating a condition of their G1, well, that will come with a 30-day suspension on conviction. If they get a ticket that has a 4 demerit or more consequence on conviction, that will trigger a 30-day suspension. If they, what else would they? If they're driving, if there's no supervisor, they get a 30-day suspension on first conviction. There's a couple other things. If you accumulate more points, because you have multiple charges and it's over a certain threshold, they'll also get a suspension. So there's a lot of opportunities for suspension. That bar is lower for a learner, anyone in the graduated program.
Yep. At 10:30, I'm going to be leaving. So
Okay.
Guess what?
And News Talk just jumped in for a sound check.
All right.
Accepted.
Hello, good morning.
Sell their condo, and they wanted to get that done to support expenses.
I'm going to say bye now.
Okay, toodaloo. I will come back and we'll get ready for for going on air with News Talk. Hey, I'm going to send them a message. And
It's the number one.
Hi there, can you hear me?
In the whole GTA.
Can you hear me? I think they're getting ready for hearing me. They muted. Okay, they're just preparing. Okay, so I'll take this message off the screen. We're about 4 minutes before we go live with Jerry. I should check my email and see if they sent me anything. I don't think they did. Oh, sorry. Hang on a second. I gotta let Sergeant Campbell. I think he's gonna figure it out. No, I'm gonna go tell him. He left his cell phone here. Give me 1 second. One moment. I'll be right back. You forgot your cell phone. He was already down the hall, almost at his office. But we saved the day because that would have been really uncomfortable if he got all the way to where he's going without the phone. So we're a couple minutes away. We'll leave. Oh, and we're muted, so we'll leave you in the background. And I will still be taking your questions after the show. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I was saying that I want to check to see if News Talk sent me any stories that they knew of that they wanted to cover. I don't see any, so we're going to just assume we're going straight to the questions unless Jerry's got something in the bag that he wants to chat with or chat about, and we'll certainly address those things. So if you'd like to, hey, I've got graphics we can put on the screen. We've got Jerry Graphics. Here we go. If you want to call into the show, 416-872-1010. If you'd like to text your questions, text them to 71010. And Control, who's going to run the business on their end, will take your questions, pass them over to Jerry, and we'll talk about them on air. If you're on air in the city of Toronto or wherever News Talk 1010 is currently broadcasting, tune in because Jerry, you're already tuned in. You're listening to me. It is possibly the most fun I have outside of my other stuff. So when I'm doing the show, I love going out to Jerry's show because it changes everything. We have phone-in callers. How cool is that? But we'll definitely come back. I'm going to keep reading ahead, looking for questions that need answering. So don't go anywhere. This is fun. It's all fun. I'm scrolling. Hey, are you going to the auto show? I'm going to be at the auto show every single day of the auto show. I haven't confirmed on the hours for which I will be there, but I will be there for all of it. If you want to come by and say hello, make sure you plan to be here. I know a number of people already messaged me saying, we're getting together. We'll be there. I'll be broadcasting from there too. So even if you can't be there because it's too far, I get it. You can live vicariously through our live feed. We'll do a lot of live streaming. Oh, we got here we go. Still following from Costa Rica. That's Sean Jovi. That's I see what you did there. That's awesome. And Costa Rica is beautiful. I had a lot of fun when I went there. Places I have visited. Continuing to look for stuff. If you are riding an e-bike, do you have to wear a helmet? You do. You have to wear a bicycle or motorcycle helmet, whichever you prefer, but you must while riding an e-bike. I think it's $50 or $65 ticket for that. Jay says Hong Kong. Oh, we have a dad joke from Zombie for later. Those are generally the best dad jokes. Zombie's got a slew of amazing dad jokes. Just a minute away from what I gather before we go live with Jerry. So letting you know that if you'd like to call in, 416-872-1010. If you want to text in, 71010. Funny, see, they got those 1010 things. I wonder if they chose the radio station first or if they got the phone number and then that's how it worked. Apparently there's some other reasons to use 1010. Can you give me a 30-second heads up? I'm texting them. Okay.
Listen anytime, anywhere to News Talk 1010 Toronto through your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Jerry Agar continues on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
And always pleased to bring this segment where we bring you the TikTok traffic cop, Sean Shapiro. He is at Traffic Services on TikTok every day, giving people information on traffic law, et cetera, and procedures. And we dip into that show every couple of weeks. Sean Shapiro, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
As always, John Moore has a lot of questions about traffic. And every time I tell him that you're going to be on, he has something to say. Now, this one is a little bit different. Here's what John said to me this morning.
I'm just curious about his encounters with people, because frequently I see people getting into arguments in my neighborhood because it's a place where people tend to park illegally all the time.
Isn't it in the neighborhood of St. Clair and Yonge?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And at 4 o'clock on St. Clair, you're not allowed to park after 4 on St. Clair. So you got to get your car out of there.
4 p.m.
Yeah. And so I was on St. Clair on the sidewalk, and the cop was writing a ticket, and he goes to put it on the windshield, and the driver says, "I'm right here and I'm leaving." And the cop said, "Not soon enough."
All right, that's funny. And then the cop just walked away. Sean, how often did you get into disputes when you were handing out any kind of ticket?
Well, disputes with, I should say that would have been most likely a parking enforcement officer, and they get a lot of grief from folks who don't understand that even if they're in their car, they're stopped or parked illegally, they're eligible for a ticket, and the "I'm going to leave shortly" thing doesn't work. Even if they drive away, we'll mail them the ticket. So that's one thing. But generally speaking, a police officer giving a ticket doesn't get a lot of difficulty. Most people understand that they did what they did, and they can choose to go to court later, but very few arguments at the side of the road.
Well, we had a follow-up question, and I think you kind of answered it. Somebody sent this in, but I'm going to re-emphasize it because Bob from London writes, if a parking ticket is being written but yet not placed on the windshield, can you drive away without getting a ticket?
So there's something called a drive away, and it's exactly that. They will issue the ticket despite the fact that you've driven off. It'll be unserved. There are notations because at that point they've probably taken photos already, and it'll be served even though you've left.
All right. So you think, ha, copper, and then the thing shows up. Would there be an extra charge for that?
I don't believe there is. They don't charge you postage, but maybe we should add that.
No, I just wondered if it was an extra infraction.
No, not at all.
Okay. 416-872-1010 if you have questions for Sean in the next few minutes here. 416-872-1010. Toll free, 877-518-5151, 518-5151. And you can text us at 71010. And here's a text question, Sean. Can an infraction, near miss of an accident, dangerous driving, etc., be recorded on a dash cam and presented to a police station as evidence when the suspects have fled and the license plate or company markings are evident?
So the deal is this. It depends. If we can gather enough information to verify the time, date, location, identity of the driver, identity of the vehicle, then it's potential that we could lay the charge. Now, you as the producer or person who verifies the source of that would have to come and testify. Just handing the video on its own wouldn't be sufficient. More often than not, what happens is a complaint comes in either online, because we have a portal online that you can make complaints for individuals or community issues, and then we will investigate based on the information provided, and at very least we'll start an investigation. We'll contact the registered owner, we'll have a conversation. Charges may or may not be available, but it creates some paperwork that next time they get pulled over, oh look, that vehicle was seen last week doing the same thing, and it just adds to the file.
Somebody writes in, can you change lanes in the middle of an intersection?
It is not suggested, but it's not illegal. That said, if it causes a collision, you may very well wear more of it than if you were doing something more straightforward. I consider it very much like a musical on stage. Everyone's got a role, and everyone assumes that everyone will be where they're supposed to be. And when you do something and you zig when everyone was expecting to zag, bad things happen.
Listen to this. I had two buses at the curb lane, and they pushed me into the oncoming traffic. I stopped one driver, and she said I had to yield to the bus. Is that true? I've had them pull out in front of me.
So there is, you'll notice on back of buses, city buses, there's a yield sign on the back, and you do have to yield to allow them to get out of their bus cutout. So when they're servicing stops, if you're right beside them, you're already nose and nose. You can continue along, but if you're behind them, you have to let them in.
Here is Anello from Etobicoke. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I'm calling Sean. I got pulled over on New Year's Day morning. I'm a snowplow operator, and I have a Salter on the back of my truck that does cover up the license plate somewhat, and there is like a 2 foot gap between the plate and the Salter. And I got pulled over because my plate was being obstructed. Now, my question is this. Number one, he had a body camera on, and he never told me that I was going to be taped, so I wonder if that had any impact with the ticket at all. And also, if I put my plate on the outside on the Salter itself, it's not lit up, so I'm breaking a law either way.
You would have to illuminate the plate by law with a light that has at least 3 candela of power. I don't know why that number was chosen, but whatever. So you have to relocate it to be lawful. There's no exemption for if you're carrying a Salter. In terms of the body camera, I'm generally not in the business of giving you excuses to get out of tickets. I don't know if it's something that was said and you didn't notice, or if it was even not active. I couldn't tell you. But those are things that you'd be eligible to ask when you're in court.
All right, Anello, thanks for that call. Here is Rob from Bowmanville.
Yes, good morning. I'd like your opinion. I left a local bar in Cambridge last winter, and I had not been drinking whatsoever. I'm not a drinker. And as I left the parking lot, a set of headlights were behind me, followed me down a road, and within 500 yards pulled me over. Then asked for my license and such and so forth, and asked if I'd been drinking. And I said, no, I don't drink at all. And he came back, checked my license, everything, and then said, have you ever had a breathalyzer test? I said, no. And he said, well, you're going to today.
Okay.
And I told him I had not been drinking. Sorry, go ahead.
So in Canada, as of 2018, we have something called mandatory alcohol screening, and any car can be pulled over and randomly selected to produce or perform a roadside screening device. So test, I should say. So you give a sample of your breath, and it's not based on suspicion. It's not based on anything you did or how many times you've done it before. You're going to get it because you're the 5th car I pulled over, and every 5th car I pull over gets a test regardless of suspicion. They also have the ability of making a demand based on suspicion if there was reasonable belief or they had reasonable suspicion that you had alcohol in your system. But either one is valid.
Rob, do you think there's a possibility that the cop saw you come out of a bar and he didn't believe you that you weren't drinking?
100%, Jerry.
Yeah.
He even said he waits in that parking lot and follows people out. But to be honest with you, I felt, if this officer should be trained, he should be able to see I've not had a drink. I didn't smell of alcohol. I wasn't swearing any words. And to be honest, I felt a little, I want to say, violated, or, I felt that I was being put on the spot and I did nothing wrong. I went along with it and I blew zero. It was all right. But in the end, I thought, well, wait a minute, is this right? Could I have said no?
No, and in fact, if you would have refused to provide a sample, you would have been arrested for refusing. It's against the law to refuse a demand for a breath sample, and it carries the same consequence of having failed a sample. So you would have had a 90-day suspension on your license, and you'd be charged for refusal and gone through the court process.
Rob, I appreciate your call. There's an element of that has a sound of police state to it, Sean.
The big thing is it's random, and it's acknowledged that it interferes with your rights and freedoms, but the courts have said that it's absolutely necessary and acceptable because it's for the greater good. His situation of pulling out of the bar, I don't know if it was based on suspicion or mandatory alcohol screening or if they just didn't believe him, but at the end of the day, either are valid reasons to provide breath samples.
Here is John from Etobicoke. Go ahead.
Hi there, my name is John, and I was pulled over for missing a stop sign, and I also didn't have my insurance papers or my certificate of ownership, and the cops decided to let me go. But my question is because I was a victim of assault with a deadly weapon, a domestic assault, and I'm curious if those police officers went back to their car and saw all this information about me and decided to just let me go, or if they were just having a chill day and decided to let me go for other reasons. I'm curious how much information is available to them.
It could be any of those things, because we do check on drivers, and when we run your driver's license, files that we would have associated with you would show up, and we would look to see if you were involved with something, whether it was good, bad, or otherwise. As to why they chose not to charge you, it's the officer's discretion.
All right. Thanks for the call, Sean. Thanks for the time. You're going to continue on TikTok for a bit?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
All the best. And if anyone wants to tune in, trafficcop.ca.
Thank you very much. City Hall plans to dramatically.
Okay, that was a nice segment. I enjoyed that. They're always nice segments, but that one was particularly nice. I don't know why. It's a feel good thing. Let me put the logos back. Oh, wrong logo. Which one? This one? That one? Let's see if I can. There we go. They said, "Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure." Such great people at News Talk. But, they're radio people. I think they're just a cut above. No, we work with a lot of media. They're all awesome, whether it be mainstream, television, radio. So many great people that we work with out of this office. So I'm scrolling back because I got a bunch of pin stuff. So let's just jump back into it. Matt says, "Hey, how are you guys?" I'm doing good. Sarge is doing good. Sarge has left, but this question came in before he did. Let's see. Jack John says, "Good morning from guess where? Toronto." We had a lot of local Toronto people. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm in the city of Toronto because I'm a Toronto police officer who works at Traffic Services. I'm a media relations officer, traffic safety, traffic law educator. Not a lawyer, but I'm a cop. And that makes me someone who knows a lot of stuff, but I'm not a lawyer. So we talk about Ontario law for the most part, and of course Canadian law when it comes to criminal stuff. If you've got questions, we've got answers, and we'd love if you followed, liked, subscribed. If you're on YouTube, do that little bell thing. If you're on TikTok, please tap the screen so your fingers go numb. That really helps us get rankings so others get shown our channel. Also, if you are going to be around and you like donuts, did you know that the donuts being sold from February 2nd to February 4th, the Choose to Include donuts, which look awesome, although I'm not a big fan of the swirl of whipped cream on top. That's a personal thing. All the proceeds from the sale of those go to Special Olympics Canada to fund sports programs in communities for those that have developmental challenges, for Special Olympics Olympians. Yes. It's good. It's great. And you get a donut to boot. Check out the video I posted today because that's the video that's plugging that. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. JC de los Rios, my friend, who is so lucky to be in nice weather. Mind you, it's not bad in Toronto. So you're in Puerto Vallarta, but I was just looking at photos from the 80s when I was in Acapulco. Acapulco? I can't pronounce anything anymore. Okay. Do staff sergeants make over $200,000 a year? I guess some do. I don't know what the starting salary is for that rank. But if you have a rank that's a cop who's making 80 could make over 150 or 200 with overtime. So if someone starts at 150, getting to 200 isn't a stretch based on overtime, not base. I don't think it's base salary that high. Either way, now I want to know. I'm kind of curious. My daughter is in university for forensic sciences, but was thinking about moving to law enforcement. Earl to Pearl. That would be a great thing, I think. Having a background, a specialty, really, really has you standing apart from the rest. Everyone comes in with, the same basic degree or certificate, then you're the same as everybody else. But if you have a specialty that makes you unique and suggests you might be someone who should be working in our forensics unit, that's awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Is there an age for kids to be in the front seat, or is it a height and weight based? Neither. None of those things. At least not by law. So any seat in the car is eligible except the driver's seat for kids. We would suggest back seat until they're 14 years old. That's what the medical and safety professionals say. I tend to believe them. They know stuff and things. And so if they require child seats, they would need to be in a child seat in that front position. And I will say this, it's safer in the back seat. Back seat is best, but if you don't have any other you're in a pickup truck that has a bench, then that's it, nothing behind. It's not a crew cab. Then you do what you got to do. But if they require a seatbelt, before they can be in the seatbelt alone, they must be in a booster or front-facing or whatever type of car seat based on their age, size, and weight. When you can go seatbelt alone is when they're 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. It took a long time to get that to come out of my mouth. Anyway, if you'd like to know more, or if you'd like a visual aid, go to trafficcop.ca, and I'll show you what that looks like. Because trafficcop.ca, when you go there, gives you my link tree. And I got to put it on screen. Here's the link tree. And when you go to the link tree, you can go to all of our social media platforms, but keep on going to the bottom, and you get to Useful Links. Useful Links has stuff like, choosing your child seat, as well as links to the CPSAC, which is the Child Passenger Safety Association of Canada. And everything you ever wanted to know and more on this topic is found there. But I'm a certified installer/instructor, so if you got questions, we can talk about it. We're here for you. We got your back. Okay. We've got question yesterday on white line on school bus roof. Some do, some don't. Depends on age. Some can turn off, others no. Spooked to draw attention to vehicle. It's an interesting thing. I still think it's something out of the States where, they're going to have a helicopter need to identify that school bus quickly. But I don't have a chopper here. I've only been in a helicopter once. I want a helicopter. I see all these people with cool electric personal helicopter devicey things. I want to fly. Let's see here. We got, we're out of dad jokes. Let me see. I got to scroll back to find out where we is. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. We talked about this just before we went live with Jerry. So are you required to wear a helmet while riding a bicycle? If you're under the age of 18, yes, but you were talking about e-bikes in particular, and that requires you to wear one always. Jay says honk, honk. For the G road test, what are you being tested on? Are there still things not tested on from COVID? I believe the reduced test is exactly that, the same shorter version where they don't duplicate things from the G2. And it's actually being looked at because there's allegations suggesting that it should not be reduced, that it should be the longer test. There was originally a reduction to get through the giant backlog, and now they're saying that it should never have been reduced and that the quality of the driving or the standards are not being met. And there's all sorts of lots of media about this. I have not read all of the articles. I've read some of the articles, but that's the gist of it. Have there been a lot of DUIs based on cannabis consumption? I believe there are, or have been. I don't know the stats on that specifically. Generally speaking, it's less than alcohol, but I don't know stats. Michael says, why would Yippee only apply to certain neighborhoods? I need someone leading the program or from TA to come on the show. Okay, I'll see if I can get someone from the Yippee program to come and talk about the show. I think it's a great idea for a TPS Traffic Jam podcast episode. So thank you for the suggestion, Michael. I am making a note. Yippee. Maybe we can have some yippies on the show, talk about stuff and things. I think it's a great idea. What's the loudest sound your exhaust can be before it becomes illegal? Fantastic question. I need to hydrate before I educate. And that's quoting a TikToker that I've not seen. He disappeared from my For You page. It's really annoying. Very interesting fellow. Anyway, loud when it comes to a police officer enforcing the Highway Traffic Act, loud is too loud, not necessary to be so loud. What could that be? If people are turning their heads to look at it because it's so loud, if I feel it in my chest, if it's hard for me to hear myself think, well, it's too loud. It's not necessary for the safe operation of the vehicle. If your stereo is too loud, if you're honking your horn for no reason, all those kind of things. But we don't need to measure the decibels in order to lay a ticket as police officers. Now, the City of Toronto has a bylaw enforcement team that is specifically there for sound, and they do have meters. And it was originally just for motorcycles, and now it's being amended to be for all motor vehicles. But anything over 96 decibels is going to get a $500 ticket in the City of Toronto. At idle, it cannot be over 92 decibels, but anything other than idle that is 96 or above decibels is $500 for that. And of course, the HTA provincial provincial charge is $110 for unnecessary noise. And if it is as a result of an improper muffler, tampered muffler, removed emissions stuff, like there could be additional charges. Now, emissions stuff is $615, I believe. Lots and lots of unfun things. Is it legal to bypass traffic by going onto an on-ramp to the highway and zooming to the end? It is one of the most annoying, ridiculously dangerous, and an ignorant thing you can do. Speaking as a driver who hates when people do that to me, they get 3 to 5 car lengths in front of us, and then they jam in aggressively, causing all their drive. Like, it's such a risky thing. If you drive over into any shoulder doing that across a bull nose, it's illegal. If you're doing it only where there's a dotted line and crossing where you are legally allowed to do it and you don't interfere with any other traffic whilst doing it, then it's not illegal. But it is absolutely not a nice human thing to do. You are, for what? To get 10 car lengths ahead, 3 car lengths ahead? Don't do that. Don't be that person. We all dislike you. And then we focus our negative energy at you, and you have a miserable day. Or you have a great day. Actually, I'm full of it at this point. I'm just trying to dissuade you from doing that because it bugs me. All right, moving on. Do you have to be read your rights when arrested? Yeah. So we read rights to counsel as soon as practicable. Like, what if it's some big mashup fight thing, fires, and we might cuff you and take you out of the area, and as soon as we can, we'll write, because sometimes it's not practical to be able to read them right there. But you will be read your rights to counsel, and if you're not, that's a problem that you tell your lawyer. Okay. What are the rules on radar detectors? You're not allowed to have them. You're not allowed to buy them, sell them, transport them, use them. Like, they're not legal. Radar or laser, or jammer for that matter. Nothing that interferes with the police, the ability of police to measure and enforce speed limits. So if we can't measure your speed because you've either stopped speeding because you've been alerted to us, or and I'll expand on that in a second. So anyway, it's $170 and 3 demerit points. We can seize the item when we find it, and we have the ability to stop you and search your vehicle and the persons within the vehicle for the device that we suspect you have. That's the story. Now, people say, well, what about Waze? Waze is not a laser or radar detector. It is a information sharing device, basically telling people that you saw a police car. That doesn't mean we're doing enforcement, and in some ways it's actually good for us because we're often working on the road, and it has people slowing down and moving over. Helps us. At the end of the day, we just don't want you speeding. Like, why are radar detectors illegal? Because people are doing really dumb stuff behind the wheel, and speeding is one of those things that I would classify as not the smartest choice. You reduce your stopping time, your reactionary gap. All those things are stolen from you, and you can't get them back. So don't speed and don't buy things that will get you jacked up on charges for having them. They're just not allowed. I'm looking. Oh, there we go. Since when do cops stream? New to kick 0001. Like for 3 years? During the pandemic, we started streaming daily. So that's when cops stream. But actually, on other platforms, cops have been streaming for a long, long time. But doing it like this started for us in 2020, I think. Oh, was it 2020? No, maybe it's anyway. I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been a while. But what do we got here? Greg Marshall says, good morning. Earl Pearl says, my daughter was thinking about going into law enforcement, but has a slight lazy eye. There are vision requirements, and I have a friend of mine who had a lazy eye. He had surgery to correct the issue. If you don't meet the standard, you need to get it corrected. If you do meet the standard, then it's no problem. But I would talk to a recruiting officer to find out. It may not be an issue. Cameron says, good morning from Halifax. We're going across the country. We have good morning from Larissa. And then Linda says, good morning, heroes. We love you and everything y'all do. We have Justin with good morning from Barrie. Monkey says, I'm driving right now. I hope that's not true because actually just send me your address and I'll send you the ticket for $615. No? Okay. Good morning from London, Ontario, from Strike66, Twitch creator, who's currently on TikTok. Rusty wants to know if either myself or Sergeant Campbell collect patches personally or in the motor squad room office. Yes and yes. I don't know if he collects them. I do. I have a bunch. I kind of shifted from patches to challenge coins, but I do collect both. Is it illegal to just own a radar detector even if you don't intend on using it? Yes, it's illegal to possess. You can't buy, sell, transport, possess anywhere in the province of Ontario. Just having it, even if it doesn't work, well, I don't know if it doesn't work. If it's just like a shell, then it's just a piece of plastic. But if it's a radar detector, it's unlawful to own. The only way, and we have a manufacturer in Ontario who makes radar detectors, but they have the only exemption, not they, the company, but there is an exemption for manufacturing to transport from the manufacturer to the consignee via a shipping company. That's the only time in its original package. That doesn't mean you can shrink wrap it in your car and take it. You can't buy it in a store and drive it. It has to be shipped to the end location where it's going to be sold legally. Preet says, hi. Boom, boom, boom. Can I make a U-turn at a red light? No, that's called proceed before green or running a red light, depending if you come to a stop or not. It's absolutely illegal, and I have no idea why anyone does that. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, my wife. Okay, it's so. If my wife has gone into labor in another city and I have to rush back, is it justifiable to speed? Absolutely not. No. You'll get there when you get there without hurting yourself or anyone else. This whole concept of you're important enough, or there's some reason that you need to be somewhere, giving a license to put others at risk. Speeding is dangerous, whether you've got a baby on the way, whether you've got a meeting that you're late for, that you don't want to look bad, like you don't want to miss the beginning of the movie. There's no justification for speeding unless you're a police officer that is engaged in the lawful execution of their duties, at which point we're legally allowed to speed. If you are a firefighter going to an active call, if you are a paramedic, either going to an active call or transporting a patient. Those are the only times that speeding is lawful. Anyone else is not. And I get you. I've been there. My dad, getting to the hospital is important. You know what we did? We planned ahead, which you can't always do, but we did. We planned ahead. And then we went to the hospital calmly. And we got there with loads of time. We went there early. Don't leave at the last minute. Have a plan. And you know what we would have done if it was an emergency? We would have called 911. And they would have driven quickly while someone was taking care of my wife in the back. And you know what we do as police officers and paramedics and firefighters? We deliver babies on occasion. Lots of police officers have delivered babies in the side of the road. But you, as dad or other person in the situation, if you're not the one actively giving birth, there is no rush for you to get anywhere, even if you want to see the show. Okay, that's a great. I'm going to clip this. I'm going to make that whole video like a TikTok on its own. Thank you for asking that question. Let's see here. So Gardner, I put it up and then I took it down and I put it up again. So Gardner, as it is an extension of the 400 series highways, is this your area or the OPP's? So it has been and currently is our area. There is discussion, and I believe it's been approved, that it's going to become the OPP's because it's being taken on by the DVP is being taken on by the province. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. PIMP. Okay. Illinois has a safety act that is awful. Now introducing another that says you can't be pulled over for speeding unless it's 25 miles per hour plus more. Really? That's ludicrous. Why have a speed limit if you can't enforce it? That's absolutely ludicrous. Illinois, if you're watching, what are you doing? There's so many, every state and every province have their own rules, but some things like Pennsylvania, there's primary and secondary offenses. So police officers can't pull you over for a secondary offense. They can only charge you for a secondary offense if you've committed and being stopped for a primary offense. I think seatbelt's a secondary offense. So I pulled you over for speeding and you weren't wearing your seatbelt. I can charge you for both, but I can't pull you over for a seatbelt. I think that's how it works. I don't get it. I don't agree with it. But I'm a traffic cop. What can I say? Are dogs in a car or truck considered distracted driving when running loose? Not when running loose, but if they're interfering with your ability to safely operate your motor vehicle. In other words, they're in your lap or they're, on you or out your window or in front of the steering wheel. That's absolutely careless driving. Or driving while crowded. Two charges that would both be appropriate. Is it true that police need permission for a high-speed pursuit where it's the daily in the U.S.? So here's the deal. No, we can engage in a pursuit based on qualifiers that it's necessary. You run a stop sign and then you get into a high-speed pursuit, putting lives at risk. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But anybody involved in that pursuit, from the officer to the dispatcher monitoring, to the supervisor, any supervisor on the air, anybody on the air can call it off. Let's say I'm up ahead and I go, it's a really populated area here. People on the streets, we need to shut that down. It's not safe. We're going to shut it down. Life is the most important thing. We're there to preserve it, to save it, not to put people at risk. So, but that all changes if it's somebody with, a child's been kidnapped and they're in the car and there's guns. Like, everything depends. Then it's a sliding scale. That's less common. Trailer hitch still in bumper. Does it need to be removed? Unnecessary damage. So if you have a trailer hitch, a ball in the bumper specifically, the old school pickup truck where you just put the ball in, it blocks your license plate, you can't have it there blocking your license plate if you're not towing. If you have a receiver and the ball is below and does not interfere with the license plate, you're good to go. It's 11:05. I said I was going to try and cut the show at 11. That's not happening. I'm going to go for another 20 minutes or so. Let's set a 20-minute countdown timer. I'm going to use Siri to help me. Set a 20-minute countdown timer. There we go. When it beeps, I'm done. We'll play a song and I'll say goodbye. It's the only way that I can actually get on to the other many things that I have to do today. I'm not here tomorrow, so the show will come back on Friday for a Friday episode, because we like Friday. And then I'm not here Monday, so we'll be back on Tuesday. So nothing tomorrow, being Thursday, nothing on Monday. So it'll be a little less Ask a Traffic Cop over the next 2 weeks. If you could change or add traffic law, what would it be? I think the first thing that I would do is I would put zero tolerance cameras for stoplights, stop signs, and speeding everywhere, because I think there's so much more that we could be doing as traffic police, so many other violations that are getting left behind, dealing with people who are just constantly rolling the dice, not getting caught. They just know you can't. People speed because they don't think they're going to get caught. Well, if we remove that so everyone gets caught, hey, I'd be down for that. That's probably the biggest thing. I can't think of anything else right now because my mind is clouded by dreams of radar or red light camera and automatic speed enforcement on every street. Yes, if I had a Christmas wish. Boom, boom, boom. So any rules on leaving a hitch or on truck when it's not in use, as long as it's not blocking the plate, it's cool. Now, I will say this. Your shins will not like you when you walk into it, so expect bruising on your shin and many loud screams when it catches up to you. Also, it could change the dynamics of a collision. If you're rear-ended, you may actually damage your frame because your bumper's no longer absorbing the minor impact. It's being transferred right into the frame. And people say, well, I saved my bumper. I mean, yeah, but you twisted your frame. Okay. We already talked about U-turn on a red light. It's not allowed. Is it against the HDA to have items hanging from your rearview mirror? Yes, but not because they're hanging. It's because they're blocking the driver's view. That is why. What is this? Oh. I got a message from support. That was so nice. They said, have a pleasant day. I'll read that after. All police officers need to get the pay they ask for. They don't understand what they have to do. Or people don't understand what police officers have to deal with day and night without police. We are useless. They deserve more than they get. You know what? I think we get paid very well. And not all police officers get paid well. We are fortunate in Canada to get pay that I think is at or close to where we should be being paid. Obviously, things change. It goes up based on every year. But some people are getting paid too little. But I appreciate the sentiment. Let's see here. Ramesh 5K SK says, I was pulled over for no reason in Quebec just for ID check, but they ask ID from passenger too. I don't know what the rules are in Quebec. In Ontario, we can pull over any vehicle to check your ID to make sure you're a licensed driver when you're operating a motor vehicle. If the passenger wasn't wearing a seatbelt, we would check their ID too because they're being investigated for an offense. We wouldn't do a fishing expedition of just checking everybody's ID in the car. That would not be acceptable. But driver is absolutely required to identify themselves because they're operating a motor vehicle in Ontario. Am I obligated to report someone who is driving without a license? That's asked by Sinful, who's on TikTok. And the answer is morally, yeah, You should. If you know someone who's unlicensed, putting people's lives at risk because they're either suspended and never been licensed and untrained, just putting lives at risk because they think they're important, or if you have somebody who's never been licensed and doesn't know what they're doing, absolutely you should be calling it in. That's a risk to public safety. Are you obligated and could you be charged for not doing it? Well, other than you losing sleep because you're not doing the right thing, there's no obligation. As a police officer, I'm obligated to enforce laws. You're not. If you don't want to rat your friend out because they're going to find out and they won't be your friend anymore, well, it's either you care about them and everybody else or you don't, or you want to be anonymous. You can call 222-TIPS is the, what's it called? Crime Stoppers. Because, it's not lawful. Especially if they were like on a release or on conditions from court, like after a criminal proceeding for impaired driving, if they were disqualified, that's a criminal offense to drive without a license, not just a Highway Traffic Act one. What do we have here? Boom, boom, boom. I don't think cops should be speaking on rights when they tend to violate them so often. If you knew rights and laws, you would be lawyers, not cops. We're not lawyers, nor do we present ourselves to be lawyers. We speak about what is lawful and what is not lawful based on the law. Lawyers can tell you after the fact why you were arrested, if you have a defense. That's lawyer stuff. We're telling you what we're going to act on based on what we know to be correct and lawful. We're giving you the best advice we can. We're not giving you legal advice for how to defend yourself in the event that you're charged, but we're absolutely in a good position to tell you what your lawful rights are because we are telling you how to avoid getting arrested. So I appreciate that you don't like it. You don't have to watch. Okay. What do we got here? Please don't spam. If you've asked it once, you've asked it more than you need to, unless I say that I can't find this question that you're talking about, then ask it again. But please don't spam. Spam is for cans, not for chat rooms. I am really excited. Once I get offline, I will be preparing some of our booth. I'm tearing down some of the stuff that's coming to the auto show with me, and we got some new stuff and things that needs to be assembled and tested and made to ensure it's working. That's what testing is. Okay. I thrive a 64 Parisienne and was pulled over because the officer was a huge car buff. No harm done. If you're okay with it, then that's great. Should they pull someone over, lights and sirens, to look at the car? No. If they pulled up beside you and said, hey, I love your car, would you mind pulling over so I can see it? That's different. What if no license on it or insurance? If you don't have a license or insurance, don't drive, because the no license is going to get you a $300 fine. The no insurance, if you're in charge of that car, is a $5,000 to $25,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. Now, if you have no license because it expired or you never had one, that's the $300 fine. If you were suspended, you're looking at bigger dollars and also possible jail time. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Why don't I have tunes in my head now? There needs to be a Be Right Back screen. Yes, this is where I ran out to give the phone. This is 30 minutes ago when this statement was put up. So this is how long it takes to get to where I'm going. I think I have the ability of doing that. Actually, I know I have the ability. I just need to set it up. It's a good idea. I've never actually, very rarely have I ever run off camera to return a phone down the hall before. And it's been a while. Are you going to be at the auto show? I'm planning on taking my son for the day. I'm scrolling back as things just got updated. Wow, lots of new stuff just refreshed. Scrolling. Come on. It's a lot of scrolling. This is my one pet peeve. If you're watching Restream, there needs to be a pause button to control the speed of refresh so it doesn't make me scroll back 3,000 messages. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that's really way down. Yes, I'm going to be there every day. We're going to be in the South Building, I believe. South Building. I don't have the layout in front of me, but I'll be there every day. I just don't know the hours that I'll be there. I'll probably be there from show open onward. Do you use 10 codes? In Toronto, we speak normally. We don't use 10. We use some 10 codes, very rarely. Not like there are agencies in the States that it's all 10 codes. And I don't know. It's like, I need help where I am. Please send a tow truck. That's what I do. I don't like get technical. 1034 and a 554 and a 777. I'm making these up because I don't even know I know the basic 10 codes. We asked that if a G1 is practicing driving with a G driver, can they have any other passengers? Yes, they can. There's no restriction to passengers. There are restrictions at the time of driving. You cannot drive as a G1 between midnight and 5 a.m. And, of course, you cannot have any alcohol in your system. Paul Blart. I'm assuming that's supposed to be a neg. However, I think that is one of the all-time best movies. and I love the actor whose name escapes me at the moment, but he's a very funny guy. Hello, everyone from Northern Pike. How you doing, buddy? Do you ever plan on coming back to Saskatchewan? I never made it to Saskatchewan. I was invited to come last year, or 2 years ago now. It was 2 years ago now. But sadly, my friend was murdered, so I didn't get to. I went to a funeral instead of going to Saskatchewan. Yeah, if I'm invited again, I will most certainly love to come and speak at the universities as I had originally planned to. We got, after you drink alcohol or smoke weed, how long should you wait to drive? Until you're sober, until you are not impaired, because having anything in your system could make you impaired, even if you don't feel it immediately. And don't use yourself as a reference, because drunk or people under the influence of drugs don't make good decisions. They certainly think they're much better than they are at driving when they're impaired. Okay, Jasper says, good morning, boss. Question, if you don't register your plates, what's the damage? If you don't register your plates, the plates belong to the ministry. What do you mean? If you don't register your vehicle, if you don't apply for it, I think it's $110, but you can't be operating on the road. You don't drive away, you get towed. Okay. Northern Pike wants to know if I've ever done a desk pop. Pistol at the office desk at work. Joking. No, but I've seen the movie. Desk pop bad. I know someone who's had, they've since retired, but they had an almost desk pop. It was a bad situation. Are quick release steering wheels legal? They are track legal, not street legal. They're not. You don't want something that comes off in your hands. That's not okay. Now, having a steering wheel, if you take, it's unlawful to remove your airbag. You need to have a special person with qualifications to remove it. It's illegal to just take it off yourself. It may be illegal to have it without, because it's part of your safety registration or certificate. So if you don't have one, I don't think you can get certified. So if you take it off, you're no longer certified. Thus, you can't have even a non-airbag steering wheel, right? Quick release or not. And someone who's a mechanic can correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding is that if you have a vehicle that's shipped without an airbag, then you could put a non-standard steering wheel in an aftermarket. But quick release is not for the road. And they usually say that on the box. And Vehicle Valley confirms, he says, no, they're not. You must have an airbag. Says, yes, you have to now. See, lots of people. Hey, look at this. Vehicle Valley says, or Mazda says, unless the car didn't come with one. But still, quick release, not okay. Unsafe. You don't have consent to unlawfully demand a breathalyzer. Legal is not lawful. Cooper says, in Canada, it's legal and lawful. We can ask every driver we stop for a breathalyzer, or not a breathalyzer, but a roadside screening device. Once that fails, we can then make a demand for to bring you before a breath technician who uses a breathalyzer, the instrument, for court at the station. Yanesh says, hello. We got Alex, who's in Ottawa. He says, hi, I live in Ottawa. We have tons of speed cameras, and one caught me, but the sign says, I don't see the rest of your question, Alex. I want to know more. We'll come back to you. I'll flag that. Does Manitoba and Ontario share the same tint law or vehicle mod regulations, or is it Ontario specific? We speak to Ontario specifically. Other provinces may share them, but I don't study the other provinces' laws. I do on occasion get guest speakers from other police services. So if you got a copper that you like in Manitoba, have them reach out to me at trafficcop.ca, and we'll hook up an opportunity to get them on the show, and we'll talk about the laws there. Because I think that goes for everyone, not just Nick. I'm always looking for other perspectives and other law persons from other places. Poe says, I'm from the UK. What's the rule about turning right at a red light? In the province of Ontario, you can make a right turn on a red light after coming to a complete stop and ensuring it's safe to proceed before turning. And that's assuming that there's no sign prohibiting the turn. Thanks for asking. A lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people just make the right turn without coming to a stop. They just blow through without even touching their brakes. It drives me bananas. Bananas. I can't deal with it. I see it one after the other, and I would just write every one of them tickets. The goal is, if you do that, you don't need to have a driver's license because you should not be driving. Okay. User Lots of Numbers says, thank you for your service, and I enjoy listening to your show. I'm from Gatineau, Quebec. Oh, it's so nice to hear from you. I love Quebec. I haven't been to Quebec in years. I used to have a couple of friends who lived there, used to go visit, and now I haven't had a reason to go back. But I do want some good Montreal smoked meat, so maybe that's the reason. Maybe I'm going to have that for lunch. They have it at Metro. Okay. I'm getting hungry, can you tell? Can you pass in a double yellow line, or is it just a suggestion not to? So yellow is, it means that the traffic on the other side of the yellow line is going in the other direction. It's a pretty good indication that you shouldn't cross there. But is it illegal? Well, we're the only province Ontario is the only province in Canada that says it's not illegal to cross the line. However, you're responsible for whatever happens when you do cross it. Like we told you, we put the line there. You weren't paying attention. Kaboom! It's on you. You wear the fault because you did that thing. But if you're turning or you're passing and you manage to do it safely and nothing happens, there's no charge delay. Yeah. But be careful. Okay, what do we got here? Mainam Yanesh Dika from Ethiopia. That's, you might have just won the farthest from our studio award. There's no actual award, but that's bragging rights right there. Can you keep your? Oh, it just refreshed and I got the wrong one. And they said death penalty. No idea what they're talking about. We don't actually have the death penalty in Canada. Scrolling way back. Oh, okay. Gotta find you. There were stuff and things to talk about. We're not done yet with another 9 minutes to go. Okay. Oh. Scrolling. Keep on coming back. Almost there. I can feel it. Good morning, sir. What's your single best piece of advice for those applying to become an auxiliary police officer? Be honest. Tell them everything. There's no point in hiding. We're going to find out. And if you are lying about something, you're out of the program, right? Be honest when you're with everything you're putting on there. There's nothing, and that's it. I mean, there's no. I started as an auxiliary officer. Write it all out. Talk to a recruiter. They are happy to give you some time, but it is a great program. Honesty is the biggest thing. People get really messed up with trying to hide little things that they're worried about that nobody else is worried about. And if it is something you need to be worried about, well, you can't change it because it'll chase you. I worked with a guy as an auxiliary officer. He was an auxiliary officer as well. And he lied. And they found out years later. And they fired him. So it is better to be honest. Always. This was the question I tried to mention. Can you keep your phone in your lap while driving if you don't have a phone holder, not using the phone? No. Actually, it's not legal. The courts have upheld that if you have the phone in your lap, it is use. It's there to slide out of your lap and you're going to grab it. It's going to interfere with your ability to safely operate. But charges have stuck when it was on the lap, whether you agree with it or not. Okay. Trying to find... Cooper says policy is not law. Don't know what you're talking about. A lot of people have some interesting beliefs as to what a policy is and what a law is. We know the difference. Policy governs us as police officers. Law governs everybody. Okay. Jonathan wants to know, he says, hey, good day. Where and a good time to book for a G1 but has driving experience? You have driving experience in another country or province, talk to Drive Test. I couldn't tell you. I don't know when is a good place or a good day. At the end of the day, when you qualify, go there and give them your information. With your previous license, you may qualify to do an exchange, to be accelerated. And Vehicle Valley has good advice there. He says, put your phone in the center console or away from you, not allowed in your lap. See, bingo. Super Rare is still asking questions about his hitch. We've already answered it. You may have to go back and rewind to go find the answer. But no, unless it blocks your license plate, you can leave it in. Great Kazoo 2 says, I think my mom would be a great cop. She's 79. Is that too old? I don't believe there's a restriction anymore. If they can meet all their qualifications, I think she'd be okay. But, that's, yeah, I don't know if she wants to get into this mess at 79. It's a pretty busy running around job, and she might be perfect for it, but talk to a recruiter. Okay. Don't know what we're talking about there. Will a radar camera go off going 5 miles per hour or faster above the speed limit? Based on the fact that you're saying miles per hour, you're not where I am. We're in Ontario, and we are using kilometers an hour to talk about speed. Oh, you did put, sorry, I saw the MPH. I didn't see the K before it. Yeah, forget what I just said. So you are here. I don't know what the range is. 5 kilometers an hour over the speed limit is against the law. Whether or not it would trigger a camera is something that I can't tell you because I don't know. I've heard of people getting all sorts of tickets. It might be a percentage. It might be a hard number. At the end of the day, don't speed. It's just so much easier. Peeling license plate with tinted front windows, what's the fine? $110 for the plate. And the windshield, if you're talking about windshield, we're taking you off the road for unsafe motor vehicle. If you're talking, that's the 20-minute timer. We gotta wrap it up. 5 minutes to go because I planned for the extra chat. If it's so 110 for the license plate, and it could be 110 for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with the color or reflective tint. If it's the windshield, we're taking your plates, you're out of service, and you're getting towed away. Okay. Can you ride a motorcycle, a Ninja 300 on 400 series highways with an M1? No. An M1 does not allow you to ride on the highway. You cannot be on a road with a 400 series highway at all. With an M1, you have to wait till you get your M2, and you can't be on roads that have a speed limit over 80 kilometers an hour, except for a few that are the only ways in and out of specific areas. Like I believe Young Highway 11 goes above 80 in some areas, and that's legal. But that's it. Very few. Can ALPR, automatic license plate reader, still capture plates with dark covers? I've seen some really dark covers out there. Really dark covers are illegal for a reason because we can't read them, whether it be by human eye or computer ALPR. So no. And that's why we are so big on enforcing that. We're taking plates, or at least we're taking names. We're writing tickets. $110 if you have covers on your license plate. And SP says, I love Waze. Apparently only one section 400 north of a certain point allows for an M1, I guess. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Hillary says, where did this idea of a fast lane come from? Well, it's generally that slower moving traffic has to stay right. And that doesn't mean anyone should be able to go above the posted speed limit. It's so that you pass in the passing lane or to the left of the people who are going slow, below the limit. So if it's 100 and someone's doing 90, you do 100 in the passing lane, pass them, get back into the right lane when you're no longer passing. That's where I think it was all born from. But never has it been the fast lane. And certainly the limit does not go up based on how close to the center line you get. If the car I bought has tinted windows that's over the limit and I get pulled over as I'm heading to remove them, can I get a ticket? Yes. If it's on the road and it's been certified, it has to have legal tint from that perspective. And if it's certifiable because it's no more than 30% light blockage, but you're still too dark to have the interior of your motor vehicle seen, well, you still get a ticket. Yeah, you're responsible. You can just pull the tint off with your, scratch it and peel it. I have video. In fact, if you go on the TikTok channel, you can watch someone peeling tint off. It's fairly easy to do. And we've had quite a number of people pull it off at the side of the road to either avoid a ticket or avoid being towed. Michael said, I was trying to remember when we started this. I said, was it 2020? I think it was actually September or December of 2020 that I created the account on TikTok. But that makes sense that spring of 2021 is when we really started putting the content out. Thank you for that, Michael. I appreciate it. You are the historian of the channel officially. You and Chase. Because he knows stuff and things too. Do you need LASIK or is glasses/contacts appropriate correction that is specific to becoming a police officer. I got laser. I did not have the required vision, so I got a little touch up, and that brought me in. 49cc road legal. Do I need M1 or just G? So many places allow motorcycles or mini bikes or devices with less than 50cc to be on the road without a permit or insurance and all that jazz. That's not the case in Ontario. 49cc, 2080cc, any cc, if you have a gas-powered motor on a bicycle or if it's a purpose-built 49cc device, it's a motor vehicle and it may not be street legal. So if it's street legal, it'll be certified as such, headlight, signals, horn, all that jazz, and you can register it with the ministry, get a license plate, license, and insurance and all that stuff. You would need an M1 or an M-class license. If it's an e-bike, and this is where people get really confused, how come an e-bike that goes slow is allowed, but a gas-powered one isn't? That's because the law said the gas one doesn't qualify. E-bikes are motor vehicles too. They just have an exception under the law that allows them to be on the road if it conforms to the rules. Those rules say for e-bikes, now I'm going off topic, 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, maximum capability. Now, I was called out in a clip saying, but you said maximum. What if they're going downhill, if gravity's pulling them and it goes faster? Gravity is not something we're talking about. But if you are riding on electric power, it cannot be capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour for an e-bike. 49cc, totally not road legal unless it is actually road legal, certified, licensed, insured, and so on. Okay. Can I have 70% tint on the windshield? No, you can't have any tint on the windshield. Someone says they have 5% tint all around. If that means that 95% of the light is blocked, you're totally illegal. Just scrolling to look for some magical last minute. I'll read the end. How can I fight a speeding ticket I know is untrue? Take it to court. Provide your evidence of it not being true. And that's something you can do. Is it illegal for me in Ontario not to have a DEF system on my... Oh, it's emissions. Yeah, removing that I believe is illegal. I'm not a diesel person, but I believe you're messing with emissions and then you'd be charged. Tuk-tuks. I don't think they're illegal. I've seen some, but I don't know if they've ever been driven on. I don't know if they're legal or not. I've seen some pretty wild tuk-tuk videos where they're, rolling because someone's... Yeah. Adam says, low-speed motorcycle LSM license is also acceptable for a 50cc gas engine. Yes, you are right. That's a new-ish thing. That's basically you get your M1, and then you don't have to, you take your M2, but you never need to finalize the M because you're staying with low-speed vehicles. So you have fewer things you need to do. What do we got here? And someone says, huge fine for removing that DEF system. Good to know. Maestro 71 says, good afternoon, officer. Is it afternoon? No, not quite there, but it is morning. Maybe it's afternoon where you are. We'll accept it. Thanks for saying hey. Any advice for getting your G-Class driving test? You are the last question of the day, only because I got stuff I got to do. But the deal is that the advice I give you for G is you've been driving for hopefully a long time with your G2. You want to get good sleep. You want to eat. You want to go to the bathroom ahead of time. You want to be prepared. And you don't want to be stressed out. So you know what to do if you've been doing it for a while. Not being stressed out is possibly the best thing. Eat, drink, go to the bathroom beforehand. You don't want things weighing heavy. And don't overthink it because it will absolutely mess you up. Test being a test. I mean, the title of test is the biggest reason people fail because people get nervous. Just show what you know. We'll call it a show what you know because that's what my kids call it in their school. We don't have a test. It's a show what you know. I'm like, see, no stress. I said it was the last one, but you know what? I just acknowledging. Vehicle Valley says, goodbye, Mr. Shapiro. Thank you and have a great day, everyone. And then Ghost 500R says, oh my God, you answered 2 questions right below mine, but not his. Okay, or theirs. Let me see if I can find yours. I feel bad. 1 second here. Where do we go? Trying to find you. If I can't find you, I'm giving up, but I'm going to try. It was just too... Oh, and Akela Jaconis is up for smoked meat. Still don't see the Ghost comment. Ask it again, Ghost. I can't find it. In the meantime, can a police officer give you a ticket for driving the car you just bought? Yeah. If it's not licensed and not insured and no plate on it, you're not legal. So absolutely you get a ticket for it. What do we got? Here, charges for drifting in a parking lot, stunt driving. Take your license for 30 days, take your car for 14, you're not allowed to do it. There's nowhere you're allowed to do it. Someone said, I saw a comment in scrolling through that, well, if I own the property, it's commercial property, I can do it. Can I do it? And the answer is no. The only place you can do it is a place that has a permit as a track or a authorized place. That's it. But Ghost 500 is bounced. I was asking Aiden, I can't find the question. I just bought a vehicle and I wanted to tint my back windows. Can you? Back windows, rear passenger, and rear back. Absolutely, you can tint them as dark as you want. You don't even need windows. You can make it like steel, wood, close it, opaque. What you do have to have is a clear view to the rear by way of mirror if you're going to do that, because the mirror on your windshield will become less good. But it's not unlawful. The windows left and right of the driver are regulated. That you got to do right. And that's it. How much is the fine for a full straight pipe? Depends if you're in the not having a muffler, $110, unnecessary noise, $110. Possible that you be getting into emissions situations if it's truly a straight pipe, and then you're looking at $600. Yeah. Can I convert an Albanian driver's license in Toronto? You would need to actually go to trafficcop.ca. In the useful links, there's a Canadian flag there. It says newcomers to Ontario or Canada, and there's information for you there. Ultimately, you need to talk to the folks at Service Ontario to find out if they'll accept it. I don't know if you qualify. Can a G1 have other passengers besides the driver? Yes, I think we answered you earlier, D. And do front-facing license plate need to be centered on a vehicle, or can they be toward one side? They need to be horizontal. You can't turn them sideways, but they don't have to be centered. They can be on either side. Tow hook adapters are a great way to avoid ruining the lines of your vehicle whilst still meeting the requirements of law. And I'm calling it, that's the last message, no take-backsies. This is the traffic song. This means that we're on our way out. After the traffic song, I will read 2 dad jokes and a Yogi Berra quote.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I have to apologize in advance to Akila Draconis, who sent a dad joke earlier, and somehow I unflagged it and lost it. It's gone. It's disappeared, finished, gone. But we do have one very funny dad joke. I've read it. I know it's funny. Let's start with the Yogi Berra quote so I can acknowledge what Akila sent way back at 10 o'clock. Always go to other people's funerals. Otherwise, they won't come to yours. Is that a dad joke and a quote? It might be both, because that was funny, even if it didn't. Anyway, this is the piece de resistance. This is a fantastic joke, I think. Now I've built it up. Did you hear about the guy who drank an entire bottle of invisible ink? He's at the hospital waiting to be seen. I think that's brilliant. I like that a lot. But Zombie never fails to have good dad jokes. It's just what it is. Quickly scrolling, because maybe Akila heard me say that and said, Oh, and Zombie stayed right to the end. Yes, thank you again for the wonderful dad joke. No show tomorrow. Just reminding, no show tomorrow. Back on Friday, and we'll do it again. So have a great day. Drive sober. drive safely, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you. Really. And plan to buy a donut on Friday. It starts on Friday, right? February 2nd? Yeah. Buy a donut from Tim Hortons, the Choose to Include donut. See you soon.